You are listening to the Angie Chu Podcast Radio Network.
I'm not sponsored, but gray matter, blue light glasses are really stylish and nice, and I like them. So buy them. Gray matter, sponsor me.
Hello, everyone, and welcome to the Bananas Toast Podcast, where we are recapping Season 1 of The Circle US. This is Episode 11, the final rating, and the second to last episode. Oh my god. And without further ado, I am back in my normal studio space, and one half of this podcast, the Angie Chu.
I'm the other half of this podcast in an unusual place in the house, an unusual place from my location. Everyone's favorite uncle or weird father, everyone's favorite weird father, can't talk tonight because I'm in a new location. Oh my god, everyone's favorite father figure and weird uncle. Done this a dozen times at this point. Black Chuck driving, pancake loving, Papa D. What's good?
I have to tell you, because of the black truck, I was driving my mom around town a few weeks ago, and I was going from my house to her house, and without stating where we live, I pass Papa D's house every day when I leave my neighborhood, basically, because we're walking distance. And I pointed out your house to my mom, and now whenever she passes it, she's like, I saw his truck. So she knows your house just based on the truck.
Nice. Very nice. Yes. I have not seen your mom in forever. I hope she's doing well.
She's doing good. Retired and on nanny duty. My mom is like basically a recluse. People were going to see her at my wedding, but then COVID made it a 10-person wedding last year. So people will see her, if not before then. Well, I guess it's Xander's first birthday party next year, because we were planning on renewing our vows next summer, and now with Delta, I don't know if I want to announce a date and deal with invitations, because we just went through this last year. So
Yep.
I'll renew my vows and get to wear my cool dress at some point, but I'll make sure he has like at least a tiny birthday party, and my mom will be there.
Well, we will see what happens. Yes, believe me, everyone's feeling this variant thing. My job is ramping back up COVID-19 protection, including making masks mandatory again. I'm not super worried about it. I know I have to order more face shields at this point. They've given me free ones, but I don't want anything that shows where I work. That's just me being paranoid, but at the end of the day, it is what it is. So yeah, I got to order more face shields. But speaking of COVID, we have the perfect show for COVID, just because literally Netflix decided to Netflix and say, COVID, we can still make a reality TV show on COVID, bet. And so they did. They made a show, and good God in heaven, I want to say, spoiler alert now, they are doing our boy Shoebee so fucking wrong. It is not even funny. These editors are legitimately making him, just setting him up to sound like Boo Boo the Fool, and we're going to find out. We're going to get into it. But at this show, I swear, I haven't had a rant most of this damn show. I got a rant today, because this is some BS on every level, and I feel so bad. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, for anyone who hasn't, listened to the podcast for any of the previous challenge seasons, the Papa D rants are that special place in nearly every podcast episode where he talks about how stupid some of the people on the show are. We have not gotten to have those in the circle because people are, for the most part, pretty well behaved. But now we get a rant, and it's at the producers, and I'm so excited. He was already ranting for a few minutes before we started recording, but you guys are in for a treat because they're messing with Shubee, and I'm just like giggling and hope dude got some therapy from them. But Papa D's heated that they did our boy Shubee like this.
Yes, it is wrong how they are doing our boy. We gonna get to it. Trust me, we gonna get to it. But we start the show off with Sammy talking to Ed about Sean's video. They're basically suspicious of other people. They're trying to figure out who is fake. Ed feels him and Joey are similar, and they grow slightly closer and kind of flirt a little bit. In which case, all the meanwhile, Tammy, Ed's mom, is just looking and commentating and stuff like that. I mean, it is what it is.
Yeah, she's basically just jumping in with everything Ed, says, and it's like, wait, let's fix this. Like at one point, he's flirting with Sammy and tries to call her a son of a gun, and his mom Tammy, she's like, no, you can't do that. You can't call her son of a gun, which is why I'm excited to see this kid on the challenge because he's young and he seems, I don't want to say dumb because he's like no, that was the other dude. I think he was an engineer. I forgot what Ed does. Maybe he is dumb. But I want to see him unfiltered and not with his mom catching his isms last minute. But yeah, Sammy's trying to see where his head's at because she admits, she's been with these other people since the start. So she's got kind of those rose tinted glasses on. And with him coming in fresh, she's got a completely different perspective. And he likes Joey and he likes Sammy. Ed says Chris is okay. He doesn't really know where he stands with Chris, but Chris is okay. And he doesn't trust Rebecca. And he either doesn't mention Shoebee or the editors just didn't put it in. But it seemed like it was a solid sentence. So I think he just didn't mention Shoebee. Like Shubee's just not really on his radar. I think Shubee's just kind of interesting to him. But, Rebecca is now getting targeted by Ed with Tammy and Chris and Sammy and Joey. And it's hard for the OGs to be like, are we just trying to create a common enemy or should we be suspicious of Rebecca?
Very true. In which case, at this point, they have a pretty good lineup of just people because they feel like Joey's on their side, Sammy, and then Ed. And they're all kind of just being like, no, we don't trust Rebecca. And I don't blame them. Nobody sitting at home can blame him because Rebecca's really Seaburn. And it's just like, what the hell? But in the meantime, we got Shoebee over here basically trying to graph everyone's stats and interactions to figure out who's rated who in the past to figure out what he can do. In which case, then he messages Joey to have kind of a bro session.
Yeah, he talks to Joey about the previous night and, thanks him for not only keeping him safe, but keeping Rebecca safe because he knows there was some tension between Joey and Rebecca before that rating happened. And before Joey was super influencer. And Joey just basically, admits that he wanted to block Rebecca, but he knows that Shubee's girl, and the last thing he wants to do is hurt Shoebee, so he couldn't. So he went for Sean instead. And, Shoebee realizes not only, does that mean a lot, but that, that their friendship's genuine, but that now they have this great little triangle going because neither Joey or Rebecca is going to want to hurt Shoebee. So they've got a triangle where they can aim to get rid of Ed and leave it with the 5 OGs. Or if Chris tries to double cross them, they can get rid of Chris, which is interesting because, Chris has never really shown what side he's on with anyone. So it's smart to be like, even though he probably isn't our enemy, we need some kind of mechanism in place in case he decides to just go wild out. But yeah, they've got half of the remaining people in this little trio. So even, for a first time watcher, it should be almost pretty guaranteed that those 3 are going to make it through the voting. But you never know. Especially if people want to just cross their fingers that it's anonymous, which it was.
Correct. In which case, then we get into the game, most likely where each must choose a player that fits that for a scenario that best fits them. The first is to die in a zombie apocalypse, and everyone picks Joey, Rebecca / Seaburn, and Chris. Joey because he's basically just one of these tough guys who look like, I'm just gonna go up to the zombie and punch it, and we're gonna go from there. Rebecca / Seaburn because she's shy and timid, and it's like, I don't know what to do. And then we got just Chris, who at this point is just basically like, Maybe he'll throw, like, we don't know what he's gonna do. He just seems like the type of dude who's gonna be like, run, and then just end up at a dead end and get eaten by zombies.
Yeah, and it's funny because, like, at the start of this question, Joey's just sitting there, and before he can even say who's the most likely, he's thinking, like, what would I even do in a zombie apocalypse? Everyone's like, Joey, and he's like, I can't be mad at that. And then the next one, which is a landslide, is who's most likely to run for president, which of course was Shoebee. And then Shoebee admits, one of his little fun facts that he tried to run for governor of California and came in second to last, but he still did it at the age of, I think he said 22 or something. So it was like a year or two before this was filmed, and everyone is both shocked but not surprised. Like, they're shocked that he did this, but at the same time, it's Shoebee. If someone was going to do this, it would have been Shoebee.
Correct. Everyone is, like you said, they're not surprised. They're a little shook, but they're not surprised. Like, it's one of those things, like, they're gonna Google this immediately when they get out of this house. Like, wait. Did Shavon really run for governor? Is he just twisting our ankles? And if they Google this and find out it's true, it's like, son of a bitch. Like, he really did run. Go you, sir. But at the same time, wow. Like, how did we place this correctly? But yeah.
I will say, I had a feeling you were going to say that, so I did look it up. So Shoebee is on Ballotpedia, which I didn't know was a thing. But he did in fact run as, where's my camera? Anyone watching the YouTube can see this. He did run as a candidate in California on June 5th, 2018. There's a nice little a little bio for him. His resume is awesome. So we knew that he had an undergrad degree from UCLA in economics, but also film. And he had previously worked for HBO, Hulu, and Dream Out Loud Productions, as well as served as a member of UCLA Indus and the Bay Area Meisner Studio. They have since updated it to show that he was on the circle, but they list all the people who ran, and there was a lot. And indeed, with 0.1%, second to last is Shubham Goal. So he was not lying. He did run, and he got 4,000 votes. And you know what? He wasn't this long list of disqualified people. So at least he got on the ballot and people voted for him.
Exactly. And we're not holding this against Shoebee. It's just one of those things like, wow, we really didn't think he took this that seriously. Exactly. He went for it. And you know what? Like you said, he got second to last. But, sir, you did more than a majority of people tried to do. All right? So nothing but respect for him. The next is remains friends with you. And basically the group is split on Shoebee and Joey because they're both just nice people, loyal people. Joey, the type of dude who'll be like, hey, bro, my family fed you. That means we're family now. Don't fuck it up. Shoebee, the type of dude who's just, if you're nice and loyal and cool with him, he's going to be cool with you. Don't cause any problems, and he won't cause any problems with you. Joey and Ed are like, bro, we're going to bond over macaroni and mozzarella, macaroni and sauce.
Yeah, it literally is just Joey and Shoebee. So people who, feel like they're going to remain friends with Joey are Shoebee, of course, and Chris and Sammy and Ed. And then people who they feel will remain friends with Shoebee. Did I do it? No, that's the other way around. So that would be Joey and Rebecca, but pretty much everyone loves those two. So when people are voting later, we should hope they use some strategy to knock these two down a peg.
Oh, God.
And then the last one was most likely to hold a grudge, and almost immediately Seaburn as Rebecca goes Ed, and shot fired. But everyone else picks Chris and Sammy because they're fun, but you can tell they've also got that like hot-headed Latin blood, which even Sammy owns up to, and Chris is just like, yeah, no one better try me. So People realize those are the two least likely to forgive you if you do something stupid.
Very true. In which case, once the game's over, things quiet down for a bit. People had a little bit of fun, and now it's alert, alert, alert. Final ratings. The last ratings of the show. And they not only that, guess what? There's no influencer. And the ratings decide the winner. So now it's literally just who, if you can't win this money, who do you want to see win this money? That's the question you got to ask yourselves. And everyone at this point, I feel like it's really like crap. Who do I want? Like, no one's thinking like this to an extent. It's really just who's the most popular. Really? All right. That's the person I need to kind of put down a little bit. But also, some of them, as time goes by, they kind of evolve and start thinking, so wait, who do I want to win this money? Like, just real talk. Who do I want to win this money if it ain't going to be me? And so people like Ed, sorry, go ahead.
I was just going to say, Shoebee is the only one who really comes out and just says, I've played this whole game with my heart. I'm doing this with my heart. I'm putting it straight down. So he's not using strategy. He's legit going for the order of, if he doesn't win, what order does he want to see these people win?
Right.
Everyone else is strategizing, and we see them really kind of racking their heads over it, especially the other OGs, because it's like they know really who needs to be put in their place, but all these people have been influencer before, so there's not like one person except for Ed that they can just be like, of course it's not this person. So it's fun to watch them figure it out. And of course, as usual, I've got the ratings they showed written down. Before I get into that, Papa D, and any other comments before we hear how people voted?
Not really. I have stuff written about how people voted for the most part, like how people like Ed, but he's too new.
Mm-hmm.
People don't trust Chris just because they don't know where he stands. They also Shubie put Rebecca second. Oh my God! We're end of the show at this point. End of the show at this point. People don't trust Rebecca / Seaburn for the most part, and I'm like, just yeah, because you're smart and you understand. Mixed feelings with Joey and mixed places with Sammy. Like some people like them, some people don't. It's one of those things where some of them are rating them high, some of them are rating them low, just because it's one of those things where who they get close to versus who they didn't get close to. People fear Shoebee because they know he's popular and played this game well and played this game with his heart. But and that's why they love him. But at the same time, they know for a fact if they put Shoebee in first, all of them are afraid to put him in first because they know if they do, realistically, he's winning this money. If they put him anywhere near the top, he is winning this money, and I don't blame them.
Yeah. So we get to see each of the 6 contestants, 2 places they hit, a high point and a low point. And some people's low point's a lot lower than others. And some people get all the way to the top. So for Ed, Joey puts Ed 3rd, but Chris puts him in 5th. For Chris, Ed puts him 2nd, and Sammy puts him 4th. For Rebecca, Shoebee puts his girl Rebecca in 2nd place. Sammy puts Rebecca in 3rd. For Joey, Rebecca puts Joey 4th. Chris is really impressed by Joey and puts him in 1st place. For Sammy, Joey has Sammy in 1st, and Ed puts Sammy in 4th place. And then we get to Shoebee. So Rebecca put Shoebee in 1st, and that's where it remains. We see Joey kind of thinking like he did last episode, where Shoebee's always been his bro near the top, but he knows how good Shoebee is at this game, and he can't put Shoebee near the top. And we saw last episode, he couldn't even look at the screen as he said it, but he dropped Shoebee to like 4th or 5th place or something. So originally, Joey puts Shoebee in 4th and just feels so freaking guilty that right before he submits, he's like, no, change it to 2nd. So this is bumping everyone else down that Joey has rated. So for instance, like Ed would have been knocked to 4th at that point. The only person who didn't change was Sammy from what we saw, because she was his first. So he moved Shoebee up to second, which could cause him the game. We know from earlier, I'm not going to give any spoilers, but Joey and Shoebee are the favorites to win this at this point from what we saw with that game. And Joey might have shot himself in the foot. He knows it. We'll have to see. But they submit their ratings, and almost immediately there's another alert.
Yes. This alert is the alert that sets them all off, because this alert is the least popular player is getting instantly blocked right now. They're not even like, nah, there's no real time to relax. They thought they were voting for first, but what they didn't know is that they were also voting for who's getting who's getting last, and who's getting thrown out immediately. So basically, there's no voting, there's no anything, there's no deliberation. It's just literally you're blocked. And guess what? It turns out it's Ed. Ed gets blocked, in which case he's the newest kid. No one is surprised. The OGs are moving forward, and that's what they wanted. They literally just said, you know what? It is what it is, man. We've been here from day one. We done been through this shit. You think you're going to come here, shoot your shot and land and kick one of us out, specifically Rebecca / Seaburn? She's like, nah, you threw your shade. You shot your shot. You missed. I done put in work. I done been here. Guess what? I'm taking you out. And so Ed is the first one to go out. Ed is the last one to go out. And Tammy is upset. And she's crying a little, and I don't blame her, because she thought they were going to go far. They were going to take the people out. And you know what? His consolation prize is you did beat out you did beat out Sean, which you had a clear shot of getting.
Sean, Bill, and Adam. I think everyone else was out. Like, I think before that was Miranda, and she was gone before they showed up. But I mean, they did beat several people out.
Exactly.
Made some friends, but Tammy's like the only one who seems surprised. Like, of course, Ed wanted to win, but he just takes it in stride. He's just like, well, we're out. And then he goes and steals all the protein powder. Which, like, each room doesn't have a gym. I think I might have mentioned this earlier on the podcast. So when they go around, they have to get a producer and have them lead them somewhere to make sure two people don't crash into each other at the same time. So at some point, Ed told a producer, like, as soon as this was over, like, I need to go to the gym. Probably like I left stuff in the gym or something. And he just comes back with all these protein powders. And Tammy's upset. And Ed's just like, look, it was us or Rebecca. It is what it is. And then there's another alert, because they still get to go meet someone face to face.
Yep. They get to go meet somebody face to face before he leaves. He chooses to meet Sammy, in which case he shows up. Sammy's like, I feel really bad because I know I flirted with him, but I have a boyfriend. Oh no. And so he finally meets her. It's like, what's up? Like, you weren't actually talking to just me. And then later, because of course producers like to be slick, Tammy shows up 5 minutes later, like, what's up? You actually also speaking to my mom. You were kind of flirting with my mom a little bit. And it's just like, oh my God.
I mean, this actually makes Sammy a little more relieved, because then she's not breaking this kid's heart, because she was flirting with his mom the whole time. So it's kind of like like, she's still like, what the hell? It was your mom. But it's like, it's the best case scenario. It's similar to, how Seaburn felt when Alex came and he realized it wasn't really Adam, it was Alex, and they could just laugh over it. So definitely relief at that point. They have a nice talk. Ed actually admits he didn't think Sammy was real, but Rebecca was just a better target. He didn't like Rebecca more. They talk some about how they both think Rebecca's hiding something. Ed mentions how he still thinks Joey's really genuine. So, it doesn't matter at this point because the ratings are in, but just like, keep Joey in your corner basically, because on a show like this, you never know what twists they can throw at you.
Very true.
And then Ed and Tammy are out. Everyone else is going to bed. Most of them are relieved. Shubee's disappointed. He's like, this is the 5th peanut butter and jelly sandwich I've made for someone who didn't show up. And I'm like, oh, Shubee. Like, he's actually making these people food. Whereas everyone else is just like, they've got a wine glass ready for him. But Shubee's actually making them these little sandwiches and they're not coming to see him.
Shoebee is too good for reality TV. This better be the last show he ever does. If I see him on the challenge, I'm turning it off. I'm letting you know that right now.
I will say, as far as this season goes, and viewers correct me if I'm wrong, but I'm pretty sure for season 1, except for Ed debuting on the challenge in 2 weeks, the rest of them have not been on any other reality TV. They've mentioned they're interested in it. It just has not happened yet. With season 2, though, we do have people that come from reality TV and that end up going to reality TV. But this season, Ed's the first to kind of transition out of the circle bubble.
I'm so happy for Shoebee that he did. I can't. Shoebee, the man's making sandwiches for people, making sandwiches for these people in case they come and visit him, so you don't go hungry on the road, brother. And it's like, get out, Shoebee. Damn you, boy.
I can see Shubie being a judge on a show, like joining some show that his talents would be useful for and being a judge. I can't see him competing really on any other reality show because, like, the only thing I can think of would be like romance, but I feel like Shubee's too good for like grungy VH1 shot of love shows. Like, I don't think Shubee would like the vibe on that. So unless we have like a Shubee Bachelor that isn't overproduced as hell, like, I think Shubee would be a good judge, like rating people on stuff they're doing.
Yeah. Even though, you know what, if there's anybody that deserves a show like The Bachelor, even though honestly I loved Rock of Love and I Love New York and Flavor of Love because it was just ratchet as fuck. Okay, it was just ratchety. It was people just doing some dumb shit, just like trying to get at this person. And you know what? Despite how ratchety as hell it was, you knew there was some good, wild, crazy sex in there. You know what? Shubee needs to have a threesome with like 2 women who are just like, just damn it, I want to fuck Shubee. And you know what?
Sure, like, he has by now. Like, this has been out for about a year and a half, and people love Shubee, like, still to this day. Like, I'm sure at some event, Shubee has had some fun. I'd be surprised if he hadn't.
Oh my God. We got Sammy while she was talking with Ed, literally like, I need to meet Shubee in real life. I just want to hug him and pinch his little butt. And I'm like, even I'm like, Shubee, just a good dude. And this motherfucker is like, just, like I said, it's just, he's a good dude. I'm like, I am upset. He probably doesn't win because he's the obvious dude, despite the fact it's one of those things like, bruh, if there's anybody who deserves to win this, if you can't, it's him. Purely because, bruh, no. This dude is a good, solid dude. He didn't talk shit with anybody, nothing. But the players go to sleep, and then they wake up the next day, get their morning rituals out of the way, and then next thing you know, they get alerts.
Yeah, it's the last day, so everyone gets a luxury breakfast. So, they don't have to cook. They have breakfast delivered. I mentioned this before. On the circle, every morning starts with producers saying, or maybe it probably make more sense to be night so they can send someone out to shop early in the morning. But at some point daily, they're asked what ingredients they want to make meals. So that way everyone can eat what they want. They're really appreciative with like food allergies and stuff. So I guess they gave them like a breakfast in bed sheet probably, because everyone had like a little something different. But they have a luxury breakfast. While they're eating, they see a message from Ed. Everyone's like, oh, I can't wait to meet Ed. I hope he's real. And Sammy's like, yeah, they're going to freak out. And it starts with Ed, and everyone's happy that Ed's real. And he's like, I was me some of the time. And then his mom sits and everyone's just shocked. And Joey, who's a self-admitted huge mama's boy, is like, well, I would have brought my mom if I knew this was an option. Like Joey's upset that he couldn't bring his mother to, I think he said like to make me the best version of myself or something. So everyone takes it in stride. At this point, you know, it's the last day. They're like, you know what, whatever. It is what it is. Like they're just ready to get the day going. Sammy admits, you know, Ed and Tammy went to see her. Ed came in first. Tammy showed up a couple minutes later and blew her mind. Again, it wasn't even a discussion of, do I mention it was me? Because ratings are in. Normally people are hesitant because they can use that information, you know, against someone. But Sammy's just like, yeah, they went to see me. And remember, there was a challenge earlier in the season where the winners got video messages from their family. So since it's the last day, the circle gives Shoebee, Chris, and Seaburn, you know, video messages since they hadn't got them yet. Shoebee's dad is just Shoebee Senior. Like, oh my God. Like, it's just older Shoebee. And I love it. Like, they're both just so adorable and hyper and pure. And I love this family. I need like a goal reality show where it's just Shoebee and his parents and any other siblings he has, and we just see their lives. Chris has a message from his mom. He has a cowboy hat in his room, which I love. And she's talking about how Chris has promised her dental work with his winnings, because it sounds like she's missing like some teeth in the back, and she wants to have a better smile. And Chris, you know, is I mean, Chewie was emotional too, but Chris is even more emotional, you know, getting to see his mom. He loves his mom. Apparently, like, this is just who he is, where at home, he's like the pep talk person, the motivational speech person, and they miss that. And then last but not least is Seaburn. And we get the fun fact that, you know, his girlfriend Rebecca's real name isn't Rebecca. It's Sammy, and according to the closed captions, it's spelled the same way as our Sammy, but he chose Rebecca. Now, I haven't searched to confirm this because I'm pretty sure I know why he chose the name Rebecca. On most reality shows, if two people are going to have the same name, to avoid having to use an initial, they will contact both people and say, do you have a nickname? And that's why, you know, like on the Real World, for Real World New Orleans, there was Ryan Leslie and Ryan Knight, and everyone just called Knight because I've heard in interviews they called both guys and were like, do you have nicknames? And Knight was like, well, I'm a hockey player. Some people just call me Knight, and they fixed that. Or like CT goes by CT because there's already a Chris, you know, on his season. So there, he was like, you can just do CT, and they're like, CT, there you go. And so a lot of Nani, for instance, her real name's Naomi. And on her Real World season, there was a Naomi. So most likely he was like, I'm going to impersonate my girlfriend, Sammy. And they were like, well, guess what? There's already a Sammy we've cast. So we need you to pick a different name, you know, for your person. And he was probably just like, Rebecca. I haven't confirmed that's what happened, but on pretty much every reality show, they do something like that to try to avoid those matchup names. So I'm pretty sure that's what happened. But, you know, we see they have a very loving relationship. You know, Seaburn's, you know, weeping. He's like, I've slept with your picture every night. I'm doing this for us. It's paid off. I'm at the finals. Maybe I can win and bring home this money to you. You know, I love you. And he's just weeping on her face. And then the producers, you know, have to break up the happy moment with an alert saying that they're about to meet everyone face to face, which means Seaburn is not going to be Rebecca / Sammy. he's going to be
Yep.
Seaburn. And he's like, oh no. Meanwhile, Shoebee is like dancing around his room. Like, I get to meet everyone, especially Joey and Rebecca. And Seaburn is just hanging his head. And he's like, I gotta get dressed to the nines at least and go face the music. I made this bed. I gotta lie in it. And everyone's just getting dressed up in their best outfits. Everyone is super excited except for Seaburn. And they go to the inner circle, which is where they've gone to vote. But this time there's a big buffet, not buffet, but like a big, huge dinner table where they're going to have a lot of food. There's candles. It's nice and dark and intimate. And they send Shoebee up first. You know, he's dressed, what do they call it? An oatmeal suit, I think. He looks like he's going to church, very Shoebee. And he's excited. And they linger on the place card for Rebecca. And then they send Seaburn in next. And that's where it cuts. And so, like, they're not even going to soften the blow by having other people there. They're going to make these two talk one-on-one first before anyone else shows up. Papa D, you have the floor.
These sons of bitches. These sons of bitches. These producers throughout this entire episode have literally been saying things, have been making sure to put in clips of Shoebee saying, Rebecca's like my sister, and I know she's real, she's amazing. Rebecca's dope. Rebecca's one of the most genuine people here. Rebecca is this amazing ass person who's never lied to me and told me the truth. They've even put in stuff like Rebecca, like with Seaburn saying Rebecca, I've been saying and being the realest person I can be. And it's just one of those things where it's just like, you motherfuckers have set Shoebee up for this exact moment because you knew at the beginning of the show we're gonna introduce these people and it's gonna be live. And at this point, we have to do it like this. And so we did. And so what did they do? They send in Shoebee first in that oatmeal presidential looking suit to sit down at the round table, ready to meet people and, you know, see people face to face. And who do they send in next? Rebecca / Seaburn, who will by next episode just be Seaburn. And these motherfuckers sent him in next, getting ready to break poor Shuby's heart and his psyche because he literally has gotten a just bond with this person. And the only redeeming fact for Seaburn at this point is at least he's not happy about it. He's flat out saying, you know what? I made this bed. I'm going to go lie in it. I'm going to go deal with it. I'm going to go get my just desserts. I'm about to go break this poor man's heart. And he is this lying, cheating son bitch. Fuck him. Fuck the producers of this show. Because these people legitimately just want to see Seaburn, want to see fucking Shoebee break down. And I need him to win, or I need him to get the consolation prize. He is not leaving here empty-handed. And I need I need Seaburn / Rebecca. I need her to spend a week in hell. I'm sorry. This is some bullshit on every level. You catfish it's different when you're catfishing a bunch of liars and thieves and shit. This isn't that. You are catfishing a good, honest, decent dude. Honestly, one of the best or decent dudes I've ever seen on reality TV show. And I used to be a reality TV show junkie. I used to watch everything. Rock of Love 2, I Love New York, Flavor of Love, freaking Shot at Love with Tila Tequila. I watched Rock of Love go on the road and hit up some strip joints and the University of Illinois Champaign hockey fucking rink. Okay, I didn't watch The Bachelor because that was too classy and stuffy for me. I needed some ratchety shit. I need some MTV VH1 type stuff. I even watched that one show with the I think her name's Courtney or something, looking for a fucking sugar daddy that got canceled because somebody either committed murder or literally committed a crime where they had to stop mid-season to do this, all this shit. The double shot at love with the twins, the damn Castellionaires, real chance at love with those two idiots. Like every single reality TV show I could get my hands on that was ratchety and binge worthy and had a bunch of people, men or women, including Tool Academy, which wasn't even a show about love, but just trying to make people better. Watched all this shit just to tell you. So I've got experience. I can tell you right now, Shoebee is better than is the honestly one of the most pure-hearted dudes on a TV show I have ever fucking seen. He's a good, solid, decent ass man. And at this point, we now have to watch him get his heart broken next episode just because of Rebecca / Seaburn. I hope he carries this with him for the rest of his life, knowing full well I just broke some dude's heart who literally did nothing to me but was nice and was looking for a genuine platonic connection. He didn't flirt. He didn't harass. He didn't do anything. His intentions were pure. This is a pure of heart man, and y'all just broke him. I don't even need to see this next episode to know there will be tears and some anger, and that's just from Shubham. I don't even want to think about man to save a catfish because of Shubham. No, Shubham needs to win either the show because he deserves it, or he needs the Fans Choice Award, and even if that's only for 25 grand. He deserves it. He needs it. And you know what? When he got out of this house, I hope he went to I hope he went to Joey in New Jersey. And you know what else? I hope he went down to Jersey Shore, got him a couple of tanguinettes, and you know what? I hope they rocked this fucking world. Hope they rocked this fucking world, turned him the fuck out. He could not be, and just because, not even whether he liked it or not, just, said, let's try some butt stuff. It's not gay. We're not going to peg you. Just let me stick my finger up there. Like, just something. This dude needs to, because he's lived a good life, and he even played this game in a way. He deserves. If there's any man in the world who deserves a goddamn threesome, it is this dude. I swear, threesome, foursome, this man needs to just have a harem of women. 72 virgins? No, he needs to have 25 hoes. 25 good-hearted hoes who are looking for just a solid man who will treat them right, help them on their feet as long as they can stand up by themselves eventually. And you know what? Just straight up be like, you're a good dude. I need to find a dude like you. Better yet, I want to find you. And the only reason they're not with him is because they've got to compete with 24 other hoes trying to get with this man and just be a better person and have a decent, good life with a guy who ain't gonna motherfucking cheat and has got options. Oh my God, this is some bullshit, and I don't want to watch this last episode. Thank you for coming to my TED Talk.
I've missed your TED Talks. I'm sure we'll have a bunch once the challenge starts back up. Oh, Shubham. I will say
so
that
mad.
next
mad.
episode is interesting because it starts with the Shubham Seaburn meeting. And then after that's done, they have to just sit there and let everyone else pile in and be like, who are you? And then we get the reunion where all of our contestants are there. We hear from them. We get to talk to our finalists, and then we whittle down who's the winner. Again, the People's Choice isn't shown because what happens is when this is airing, Netflix puts on 4 episodes a week when they're airing their seasons. So when the second to last batch goes up, they let you vote through when the finale happens, basically. So I got to vote for who won People's Choice second season, but not first season. So I didn't know this show was a thing.
Right.
But I will let you guys know that. I will also say there is a meme that I've been holding on to for months that I want to share with Papa D, because we share memes of the shows we watch, but it clearly shows the final three. Like there's nothing else it could be. So I've just been literally holding on to it in my Reddit favorites, and I can't wait to send that next week either. It's beautiful. I will say I'm happy with the final five. When I think of the final five, I'm pleased with them. The only other person I would have liked to see is I did really like Miranda. I don't have a problem with Seaburn. I know Papa D does, but I do like Seaburn. I like him in there. If I switched anyone out for Miranda, it would have been him. But I do know that Miranda, always was voted low, and she really only connected with Joey. And I fully realized part of my reason for liking Miranda is probably because I'm team, what would their name be? Joe Randa or Moe? I love their connection. So I know that's a part of it, but I'm happy with the final five, and I'm happy with how all the placements go next week. I will say I don't remember who's fourth and who's fifth. I know who they are, but I don't remember the order. But I'm pleased with first, second, and third. I wasn't throwing things at the TV like, what the hell?
We will see what happens. Good God, I don't. This is gonna be one of the hardest things I've had to watch. I know it is, because I know I gotta watch Swoopys Heartbreak, and I just but we will end up seeing what happens and go from there. God, I'm so frustrated with this show. It's like this show wasn't bad, but now I'm just like, you sons of bitches. You for real you couldn't let a good man have a good day. You gotta let this man get heartbroken for fucking ratings. Fuck you, producers. Fuck you. You pieces of shit. Oh my God.
I will say they have a nice talk, so it's not as mean as just like, here you go, moving on. Like they do have a nice talk. I will say that. Before we wrap though, I do want to give updates because it's that time. So next week, of course, we'll be releasing the finale podcast episode recap, and I'll go up Friday, August the something, because oh my God, it's already August. Whatever that
August
date
6th, because that's when Suicide Squad comes out.
Yes, August 6th. The following week, the Challenge 37 will be starting. So if you guys have found us through the Circle, which I know we have some new listeners because I've been uploading the Circle to YouTube, and that's the first time I've ever done the podcast on YouTube. We will do season 2, but it's going to be after Challenge 37. Your boy Ed from this season will be on Challenge 37. So keep listening. Same, whatever you're listening to this on or watching it on will be on the same thing. But we will switch back to challenge coverage, which is how we started our podcast. If you're wondering who the man is on the picture of our podcast, that is Johnny Bananas, the GOAT, the 7-time champ. I love Mr. Bananas. Yep. He is still mostly retired. He hosts 2 of his own shows on NBC. He will not say the word fully retired, but he's basically retired. He's 39 years old. And so that's who he is. You'll love him or hate him. But we'll meet all kinds of fun new people on the show. And normally there are rants from both Papa D and myself, especially when a man named Josh Martinez is mentioned.
Fuck you, Josh. Fuck you to hell. Fuck you to hell.
Maybe this will be the season he surprises us.
No, because he's a show ho. He is a show ho. he is looking to latch onto the biggest piece of drama because he's not worried about winning this show. He's worried about staying on this show. He's worried about getting this call back for next season, so that way he can come home. Maybe not with the entire multi-million-dollar prize, but you know what? If he can get on this show and last long enough to get 50 grand total, not to mention whatever possible cash prize he may have won while in it. If he leaves with 50 to 100, over 50 G's, he's a winner. He's an automatic fucking winner, and he just paid for most if not all of his year, because he's not living in a mansion or a house like fucking bananas. I mean, I'm assuming he's living in hopefully an apartment or something.
I think he's got either an apartment or a small house in Miami. I know he does live in Miami. He parties with Nelson and CT a lot in Miami.
So it's one of those things. Honestly, if he rolls, Miami ain't cheap, but realistically, I feel like if he rolls out of the challenge with a 50 grand check after everything is said and done, he ain't mad. He's made his money and he's done what he needed to do.
Well, he won his season of Big Brother, and I feel like I've heard the cash out for that was like 500,000 or something. I might be overshooting it. That's the max it was. I know it wasn't a million, but it was a nice number, especially when you realize this kid's only, I think, like 26 right now. So he was probably 22, 23 winning that money. And when he mentions on the challenge winning money, he wants to buy homes for his family. Like he wants to get better homes for like his mom and stuff. So I think Josh himself is good. He parties a lot, so I think a lot of his money is going to the party fund. But I'm hoping the man is smart enough to at least bought a decent sized house in Miami just to live in and rock it out. When I see stuff he posts, I'm never like, oh, he lives in a shabby little shack. So he's got something good. And CT rolls with him off season. We know CT doesn't roll with him on season, but a lot of reality people, as we've discussed, are pretty insufferable when shows are being filmed because they up their personality so much, and they're usually pretty cool people IRL. So word on the street is if you meet Josh in person, you'll like him, but on the challenge, no. You could be friends with Josh.
No, I can't. I can't do it. Actually, with the way July has treated me this month, Jesus Christ, that would be the ultimate kick in the balls. I find out if I just happen to meet Josh and like he's a legitimately nice ass dude, and I'm just like, bro, don't ever listen to my podcast, please. I just talk a lot of shit about you, like real talk. At least you on the show, because I don't know you as a person, and we make that abundantly clear. But on the show, you were show ho. But yeah, no, July has been a rough month for me. July 1st, I woke up with a flat tire, had to get that replaced. July 8th, roommate's back with his ex-girlfriend for the third time, didn't even get a heads up, so in which case things have just gone downhill from there for the most part. Oh, July's been a rough month. July woke up day one and chose motherfucking violence, and I'm not okay. But it is what it is. I'm dealing with it, and we'll go from there. But hit them with them socials, Angie.
So you can find me on all social media at the Angie Chew. So of course, for those of you watching this on YouTube, it's youtube.com/the Angie Chew. You can also check me out on Instagram, TikTok, and Twitter at the Angie Chew as well. Most active on YouTube and Instagram. I'm trying to get back in my Twitter groove. I fell off of it earlier this year for like the first time in over a decade, and I'm just trying to force myself back up. I'm busy with other things, and that's why I haven't yet, but I still post funny stuff. I went semi-viral yesterday making fun of Ashton Kutcher and Mila Kunis. So I'm proud about that.
Dope.
Take your showers. But yeah, look for me on the Angie Chew. I've also been experimenting with YouTube Shorts. I still don't really know how it works, but I've taken a couple of videos that are exclusive and I've uploaded them, and they're doing very well in views. So if you make YouTube Shorts, subscribe to me. You can see the podcast. You can see other fun things I upload, and we can watch each other's shorts.
In which case, get on it. You can find me on the Twitter at PapaD618. You can find me on the Instagram at PapaD618. You can find me on the Snapchat at PapaD618. You can find me on Facebook. Do not look for me on Facebook though. I've gotten 4 random friend requests from people I haven't seen in years. I don't trust them. I just had to block my grandmother because she was sending me crap about a grant. So at this point, I'm like, okay, this is a bot. Yeah, just you don't find me on Facebook. I don't trust it at this point. I'm using it to literally just checking on friends who still post there. And of course, you can find me on the TikTok at @PapaD_618. If you find me on the TikTok, please feel free to give me a follow and send me, if nothing else, send me a video. Basically, just send me a video of you just driving around, ranting about something you're passionate about. I'm really okay with it. If nothing else, send me a rant about Suicide Squad and what you think it's gonna be like. I've heard good things, and you know what? I'm ready for it. The only question at this point is, am I going to watch it in the theater, or am I going to just sit my fat ass at home, order a pizza, and watch it on HBO Max? I don't know which at this point, and I probably won't know or figure it out. But you know what? We will work this shit out. In the meantime, in the green time, only thing else I got to say is, if you're white, very few times I'll actually think this, but be like Logan Paul and use your white privilege to help everybody else out. I love to hear people own it, because Logan Paul released a video about how basically, there is white privilege and there is racism in America, and how he honestly just flat out admitted, which one thing I'll always respect him for. The reason I got away with all my hooligan shit on YouTube is because I was a white boy at once. It's because I was a white boy and I didn't get arrested by cops. And I'm just like, you know what? He fucking said it, and he owned it, and I'm happy about that. But otherwise, peace, love, and pancakes, y'all.
Bye-bye.
You are listening to the Angie Chu Podcast Radio Network.